Well, good morning. Welcome everyone this morning. It is a nice fall rainy day, and so a good day to have breakfast, particularly a good heavy carb warm breakfast. We got biscuits and gravy. We're ready to go. We got good stories to be shared and told from Abby from Boys and Girls Club. But we'll start as we do with breakfast and a chance to share and connect. There's always questions of like, how is this church? And we always share like, this is the model of church from the first 3 centuries of the church, where a common meal was shared, and in that space, life and the stories of life were shared. And one of the things that I hear over and over again is just how we've lost the opportunity to connect with people in our communities and our towns. And this is it's an easy way. And it's some people are like, well, it's weird, it's uncomfortable. I'm like, yes, that's the point. It is uncomfortable to actually live and share life with others, but it is absolutely important, particularly to the way of Christ. And so we do this as a simple way of sharing life, sharing the stories of life, sharing the highs and the lows in that space, and ultimately sharing the mission that we have collectively as a called community into being the hands and feet of Christ. So this is the way we're doing that, by sharing a meal and sharing in the Spirit of God and hearing the stories of God through our partners and through our work in the community. So with that, let me offer us a prayer, and then we will dig through the food, and then after a time of eating and sharing and conversations, we'll invite Abby to come up and share about the Boys and Girls Club. So let's pray. God, thank you for gathering us here. Thank you for just the opportunity to sit, to calm ourselves in the rhythm of life and relationship and conversation. May your Spirit reside among us. May we see Christ in the eyes of one another. May we hear Christ in the stories and the lives of one another. And as we eat and share this meal, may we be filled not only with the food, but also with your Spirit. Bless this food to the strength and nourishment of our bodies. In your name we pray. Amen. Feel free to dig in. All right. 1, 2, am I there? Hey, all right, we're gonna transition and invite Abby up to start sharing about Boys and Girls Club. Abby's been involved with Boys and Girls Club since she was one of the club kids, so she knows all of it. She lives, breathes, bleeds Boys and Girls Club. So I'm excited to hear from her, both the updates that we asked her to share a little bit about how COVID affected the club, but also just what new exciting challenges and opportunities they're seeing on the other side of COVID as they kind of are coming back into space. So Abby, the floor is yours to share the passion and the mission of Boys and Girls Club and what you guys are doing for the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you everyone for having me, and good morning. I am Abby Stutesman. I am the Director of Club Operations at the Boys and Girls Club here in town. And I've been here in Noblesville since born and raised here, too long. I was a club kid, and then it was my first job when I was 14. I was at the front counter, and then they just promoted me up through full time into my current position. So we've obviously seen a lot of challenges here recently since 2020, as everyone has with COVID. However, we were ready for the challenge, as our need to serve like you was there, and we were ready. So when March of 2020 hit, we knew that we couldn't let COVID stop us serving our youth. So we had to figure out a way to continue to serve the youth in Hamilton County. And even though our building was closed, as safety was our utmost priority, we continued to serve virtually. So we offered programs virtually from March of 2020 to May of 2020. And knowing that we needed to get our doors open, as we weren't serving as many youth as we wanted, when June hit, we opened our doors back up at a limited capacity. If you remember, summer of 2020 was still not back to normal. And with each day that passed, I know everyone in the world was hoping we were getting somewhat closer to our normal. But the summer of 2020, We opened up in a very non-traditional format. We were on ratios. We had limited numbers in our building. We were very used to having 200 youth on a summer program, and we were operating at maybe 100, so half capacity. And then when the school year hit in the fall of 2020, we were really, really hoping that we were back to normal. And just for reference, our normal was about 400 youth a day. So 375 to 400 youth a day. And when we had to reopen in the fall of 2020, we had to look at how we could do it safely. And the Boys and Girls Club's mission has always been that we would never turn a youth away, ever. So, and I will do my best not to get upset. It was a very difficult decision in the school year of 2020 to decide that we could not open our building up to all of the schools in Noblesville. Probably one of the hardest decisions I have ever seen the organization have to make in the entire time I've been with the Boys and Girls Club. So we had to decide that we could only open up to half of the elementary schools, as that would be in, that would be in alignment with our mission as being safe as our top priority. So we were at a limited capacity in our fall programming of 2020, and we were not open for the middle schools or the high school and half of the elementary schools. That being said, that closed our doors to a lot of our membership and really, really hurt our hearts. A lot of our staff were used to seeing our kids on a daily basis, families that we had seen throughout the years, we lost track of. And that's really difficult because you grow a bond with these people, and that was a struggle. But we knew that we had to find that balance of how could we continue to serve and operate safely. So this was a sacrifice we had to make. So we went forward, moved forward like everyone in the world was, and said, okay, we're still operating and we need to be grateful for that. So throughout 2020, we continued on until our current position, where each passing day, we have been able to grow stronger and stronger and open up our doors little by little to more and more youth. In our current position, we have now opened up to all schools. We're back up to our operational standards. So we are fully running up to all schools are open. Our teen center is open. We're very, very grateful to be back to our traditional setting. However, with that being said, we are experiencing the same challenges that all Boys and Girls Clubs throughout the nation are experiencing currently, and that is recruiting back all of those former club kids. So a year has passed. Where did they go? How do we get them back? A lot of people had to adapt to the challenges of COVID. Parents found other places, or youth found a way to find other services after school. So now we're at the point where we're rebuilding again. And you're not used to that challenge. Normally you see that when you've just opened up a club. You know, you're recruiting, you're saying, hey, we're open, we've got a brand new club. Here we are, we're trying to find those families again and saying, we're open again, come back. I feel like this isn't anything new to anyone in the world now. Everyone experiences this right now. We're trying to let people know our services are still here. So that's where we stand currently. As of now, we're also facing some of the same challenges employers are facing with the workforce. That's a bit of a challenge. Trying to find employees to come in and work every day so that we can continue to serve youth safely. However, again, every day we say we're grateful that we have our staff that we have because they're our biggest asset to our club. We have this brand new, beautiful building that we can offer our kids, but our biggest asset is our staff. They are the ones that create the life every day within our club. So I think one of the biggest takeaways that we've had throughout the last 2 years has been that having our doors open has given youth the ability to have a better social and emotional well-being. So during COVID, they didn't have that social aspect with their peers or with adult mentors. Virtual hit everyone really hard. You might have had that opportunity to discuss through a computer screen, but it wasn't the same. Having our club doors back open, their confidence is boosted, their ability to problem solve, to work with their peers, to interact, to do activities, whether it's social and emotional, whether it's physical and recreational, it's all there. They also have access to resources. We do meals 2 nights a week, snack packs, and then just the life of the club. I mean, it's their club. They've got it back. After school hours are pivotal, and a lot of our youth spend every day at the club. So we are very grateful to see that a lot of the success stories that we have from parents have been that they've seen their children, their grades are going up. They've seen their demeanor change just since they've been able to come back to the club. And that's huge for us. So that's kind of where we stand currently.
We're going to allow time for questions that folks have about the programming. I want to start us with that because I want you to talk a little bit. This is something I still don't know much about, but I know the club offers smaller clubs.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
There's things within the Boys and Girls Club that allow focused areas of education or experimenting or learning a skill or something like that. Could you share just maybe a handful of what those are and like who are those available for within the club and kind of what the idea or the goal around each of those is, knowing that they're unique?
Yeah. So we serve kindergarten up through 18 years of age. So all school age children. And we have, each day we have daily drop-in activities. So within the building, you have a games room, a gym, arts and crafts, computer lab, library. Those activities are open every day. A child can go from area to area. If they want to, go into the arts and crafts room and participate, they can go in there. If they'd like to go into the gym, they can go in there. Tech center, so on and so forth. But then on top of that, we have what we call group clubs, and those are scheduled throughout the week. Those fall in areas of character and leadership, social fit and recreation, and then we also have healthy lifestyles. So for instance, we have Torch and Keystone Club. Those are character and leadership building courses. They are founded in club and community service. So those group clubs meet once a week, and they teach our members about how they can be of service to their community and to their club. We also have healthy lifestyle clubs, and that teaches them about their mind, body, and soul. How do they connect all three of those things? And that's teaching them healthy lifestyles in regards to sport, fit, and how they eat. We also have a boys club, a girls club, and that's teaching them self-esteem, role playing, certain situations and scenarios, and how the proper tools and resources on how to get out of certain scenarios. We have cooking class. That is probably by far one of our most popular classes, because we'd like to say it's because they're learning how to cook, but we think it's because they get to eat the food at the end of it. Cooking class is a very popular class that we have. We also have music classes. We have a music room within our building. And then we also have a strength and training room, and we do fitness courses in there as well. So those are classes that are scheduled throughout the week. On top of, we have tutoring that we offer, and that's based off of volunteers. and tutoring is offered with the membership. Everything is offered with the membership. And that's 1 hour a week. And we offer power hour, that's homework help every day. We have a lot of different programs. On top of just what we do after school, we also have sports programs. We have our volleyball and our basketball programs in our community center.
Other questions? How's the world changing for you in the next, say, 5 or 10 years? You obviously must have some more long-range planning kind of underway all the time. So take me out 5 or 10 years and paint that picture for me.
5 or 10 years. Yes, strategic planning is huge right now. One of the biggest issues I think coming up in topics of conversation is transportation. Is probably one of the biggest. Our program primarily runs on transportation. If you took transportation out of our program, I don't know if we would have one, to be really frank. As of right now, we have about 215, 220 members that are attending our program every day after school. They are all coming by bus. Prior to that, we have to secure a sustainable program for transportation. If you're thinking about it, schools are releasing, the kids are getting there about 2:30. Most parents are working at that time. How are the youth going to get to our facility? Transportation is key. Also, as Noblesville continues to grow, how are we going to serve a population that is reaching its borders? How do we, in our location, continue to do that? Do we add more sites? Do we put sites in Hamilton Heights School District, in Sheridan? Where do we go? These have all been topics that we've discussed. How do we continue to serve more youth in better locations? Is it transportation? Is it getting in those communities? What is it? So these are things that have been discussed. But currently the time, it's kind of like we've got to discuss what's happening right now before we can talk about how we solidify those goals. Yeah.
How is the club different than a daycare? I hear this a lot of like, oh, I thought it was like a daycare. It's not that. And I'm like, no, it's not that at all. So how is that different?
Thank you for asking that question. A lot of people do think we're a daycare. We're here to, be utilized as whatever service you need us for. A lot of times parents do use us as a daycare, you're utilizing us just for the period that you're at work. But I always want to remind parents, that's not exactly what we're for. We are a kids club. So if it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon and your child wants to be off of their iPad and they really need a gym because they just want to run around, it doesn't have to be right after school. You can come and bring your child to our club at 5 o'clock in the afternoon and just let them play in the gym. It is literally their club. If they want to go and sit and do coding on a computer at 6 o'clock at night, you can drop them off at 6 o'clock at night and you can pick them up in an hour. If they need a break from you or you need a break from them, that's what the club's for. That's what it's always been for. When it was the boys club, it was local to the town. People, go ahead, ride your bike to the club, ride back home for dinner, ride back to the club. It's the same premise. It is not a daycare. We don't need to know when they're coming. We don't need to know if they're there Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. They have a membership. It's a membership club. It's really there it's a safe, positive place for kids. That way they're not out at the neighbor's house. You don't know where they're at in the neighborhood. They're here at the club having activities that are providing them opportunities for growth and development.
And what's it cost a year for a membership?
$55 a year.
There's no way you pay for that with your funding. So where does the extra funding come in that the Boys and Girls Club needs?
We do have scholarships for for children. I want to say that first and foremost. So when I said we never turn a child away, we never turn a child away. So if a parent cannot afford a membership due, we do have reduced rates that they can apply for, and we can lower that rate as low as $5 a year. And to secure those funds, we have outside donors that we are very, very blessed club, a very, very blessed club, always have been. This community has supported us through and through. So very, very gracious community. And our donors have supported us throughout the years, and the youth that come to the club. Those scholarships come through those donors. And then also the outside program fees for summer camps, spring break camps, and then sports fees as well.
You guys were the recent recipient of the mayor's soiree. You guys received, you were one of the nonprofits as well as Serve Noblesville that were picked to receive the benefits of that major fundraiser. So congratulations. Then you guys also had the trivia night that we had a couple of teams from the church that were involved, and that was your biggest fundraiser ever in the trivia fundraiser, right?
That this was a great year for trivia.
Yes,
Yes,
yeah.
it was.
It was a good year for that. So
Great fundraiser.
and then United Way and other a lot of
Absolutely.
grant funding
Yes.
is also where that comes from. So congratulations. Other questions that you're curious about the Boys and Girls Club?
What's the greatest challenge you see your students facing right now?
I would probably say currently in my opinion, it's anxiety. I see a lot of the youth facing, they don't know how to verbalize what they're feeling. Sorry. They really need connection, social connection. I know we were just talking about this, but they truly, truly need that social and emotional connection so that they have the tools to verbalize how to cope. I feel like socializing is lost. Sorry, I get really upset about this. They have a very, very hard time. When we see behavior incidences kick up, they're just upset and they don't know how to explain what's going on. And when you have behavior problems, that then leads into academic problems, tardiness or just not going to school, not relating well to their peers, isolation. I mean, it just trickles down. So they really need adult support to help them be able to verbalize what they're feeling and understand that they can cope through all of this. And I think that right now, even adults in their life are feeling a little anxious and feeling unsure of the times, and that's making our youth even feel a little unsure. So I think we are seeing a lot of our members feeling the need for stability. And so when you're at the club, it's really important, like even in our programming, we're constantly telling our staff we need consistency because so many things are inconsistent right now that we have to keep that consistency. And it's very important that we don't overload our plate, because if we can only commit to 5 tasks, then we have to commit to 5 tasks. Because if we keep adding stuff to our plate, we're not going to be able to commit to all of that. And then inevitably we'll be providing them an unstable environment again. So I think that's the biggest challenge I'm seeing.
Anyone else? So we come in, oh, Cammy's got another one.
I was going to let somebody else talk, but I will. So the community supports you financially. How else do you need community support?
Well, we used to always say, we would love donations, and which we would always love donations. I'm not going to turn that up, but really right now, I'd say volunteers. It's very difficult to run a program and continue to serve numbers if we don't have staff. And staffing right now is very difficult. And there are certain areas we're limiting our numbers even now because we are not able to secure employees. So we're kind of going back to an old model where we're looking more into volunteerism, whereas in the past decade, it's been more use employees, use staff. That's not really fulfilling that void. Now we need volunteers, answering phones, helping, welcome and greet parents when they walk in, assist us with getting members off the bus. If there's retired CDL drivers or anyone who could aid us in landscaping. I mean, even anything really, we could really use volunteers.
Say, hey, I'd like to volunteer. Here's what I can do. Here's what feel free to use me however you want. You would find the place to put their skills to serve your ultimate goal.
Yes. We used to have very dedicated spots for volunteers. At this point,
you throw the doors wide open and say, we just need people. And
right, because we're wanting to serve more youth in the community. But if we don't have the staffing to do that, we really need the community to help us open the doors wider. Yeah.
Well, we'll be there serving dinner tomorrow. We'll have a small team committed to doing that. We'll be serving our pulled pork and macaroni and cheese, I believe is what I heard. And then we'll be there in December doing exactly what we did today, biscuits and gravy. It's one of the club favorites, so we hear, and I assume that's correct. And then Faith is always there to serve you guys as you need to, and we love being able to do. We're able, of course, we're such a small group, but we try to be as potent as possible with that relationship because the club does matter to us. And so we will continue to support you in that space. Linda's got it.
I'm wondering, mentioning the emotional needs that you see everywhere with the children, do you have a psychologist on staff who sort of helps your people understand how they can help the children? Is there anybody feeding them information to be able to help?
We do not have anyone on staff for that, but we do have a lot of resources and training that we get through Boys and Girls Club of America, but we do not have anyone on staff.
And social worker? No.
No social worker.
Yeah. So the people there, your workers get trained through the Boys and Girls Club organization.
Correct. There are curriculums that we use, and then they offer trainings monthly. But we don't have anyone, I guess, locally or on staff that we utilize, although open to the possibility of it. Yes.
Are there ever any kind of conversations about God? Is that sort of taboo?
I wouldn't say it's taboo. Boys and Girls Club of Noblesville it's non-denominational. And our code is we believe in God and the right to worship according to your own faith and religion.
I see.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Any final thoughts for us? Is the thing you'd want us to hear or know as you have this opportunity?
I would just have to say to all of you in this congregation that this partnership through Faith Community has always been a huge support to our Boys and Girls Club, and something that we appreciate at the Boys and Girls Club. Whenever we talk to other Boys and Girls Clubs, we always put you up on our pedestal and how lucky we are to have the partnership with Faith Community. And we're just very grateful for you, and we appreciate your continued support, whether it be meals, the recognition dinner, the stockings. It truly is something for our kids. They look forward to it every month. You've definitely created traditions for our kids. And I know that that might seem like nothing, but to the kids, it's something. So thank you.
Thank you, Abby.